Majinga Over the Edge.
I am T-Roo, and I am seeing into your future. You will be going on a journey, an enchanted scroll of mind-expanding experiences and convoluted conundrums of pure mystery. So make like orange juice and concentrate on my tarot cards and witness your destiny unfold. Your destiny is your fate. And it looks like your fate is a mystery. I am now seeing a stranger in your future. Yes, you know, people, T-Root is stranger than fiction. This stranger will be your guide for this mysterious journey. Ladies and gentlemen, the magician, Magique Michael Stroud!
Welcome, my friends, to Majinga Over the Edge. Today, we visit Hocus Pocus Magic Warehouse, invitation only, in Fresno, one of the largest distributors of magic I've ever seen. 21,000 square feet of space filled with magic and a nice family who loves magic. Let's take a look inside Hocus Pocus.
Life is a magical bazaar.
This is just for audio.
We started Stars of Magic because my friend Mike Foster, who was my very best friend at the time, he worked for me in the store. He wasn't feeling well, went to the doctor, found out he had acute leukemia, and they didn't think he was going to make it. They didn't give him a week to live. And so he went in the hospital immediately. They did chemotherapy, they did radiation, they did everything, and nothing was helping him. And he got down to skin and bones. They sent him to the hospital in LA, and I can't think of the name of it. He was going to go for a bone marrow transplant, and they ran out of money. I mean, we had a blood drive. That's when the PCM convention. We had a blood drive at he won the PCM convention the year before, but we had everybody that went to PCM. We got him to donate blood. They went to the blood bank and gave blood in his name. In fact, the blood bank here said that they never had so many people, donate blood to one person. So we did a blood drive. We had a magic sale here at this store, at the other store, where everybody brought their stuff that they didn't want and played stupid prices for it just to raise money. And we raised like $5,000 or $6,000 for them, and we gave them that money. And then we decided to do the Stars of Magic, and we put that first show together. And it was at the Mercedes Edwards Theater, and only seats 250 people. And it was in the dead of summertime, and there was no air conditioning. It was hot as hell. We were all dying, but we put it together, and we got. I'm trying to think we had one big well-known magician that came and did it. I can't remember who it was, and we sold it out, and we planned it and put it together in 2.5 weeks.
Wow, that's fantastic. I know how much work that takes just to promote an event.
And we filled up the place, and it was so successful. And we gave all the money to Mike, and then unfortunately Mike went for the bone marrow transplant, and we lost Mike. He passed away.
Wow.
So in his memory, we did it every single year after that, and we did it at Mercedes Edwards, I think, for 3 years, and then we graduated to Fresno High School, which is right down the street from here.
Yeah.
And each year we'd always have a couple of local guys, and then we'd have, we get some big name to either close the second half or be the second half.
Do you want gentlemen to
Sure.
signature required for this thing?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yes, the time I was in it, the opening act was Christopher Hart.
Yeah.
And that was right after he just started his floating zombie hand thing, and before the Addams Family movies.
Yeah.
He was known for his torn and restored sheet music routine
Right.
at the time. So
Oh.
I believe he opened the show, and then it was James Hamilton who did kids show stuff
Yeah.
as Herman. You know,
I think he was the MC that year. I think he MC'd.
Tom Ogden Tom Ogden was also in it. Yeah, maybe James was the MC, or it was Tom
was
Ogden.
MC one year, and we had Larry Clark was the MC one year from your area.
Yeah.
Well, then I opened the second half, and then the feature was Chuck and
Jones.
Jan Jones, and Stacy, who was like 20 years old at the time.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was the night that we it took us a half hour to open the doors because they were trying to set for the cargo net illusion. They couldn't get the lighting right.
Oh yeah.
And we had a line of people all the way down the street, and they were really getting angry. Yeah, let us in. So he just had to scrap it and take it out of the show.
That's getting down to the wire, pun intended.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yikes.
Yeah, that was that brings back a lot.
I even remember, I have this on tape. I haven't seen it for more than 10 years, I'm sure, but I even remember they did the barricaded barrels illusion with plexiglass barrels. And then he takes one of the barrels and does a sub-trunk on it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thought that was a rather bold approach to use that
Very cool.
the same gimmick twice in a row, right in front of him, back to back, but in different ways.
We were always lucky to get. I mean, we never had any trouble getting anybody to come and do it. Like so, we put very minimal. The performers got very minimal fees for doing it. They did it just to do it, and we gave all the money to the charity. And we always picked the charity. The first year, we picked the charity that Mike was involved with, which was a Kids with Cancer group. We went to there's a camp outside of Fresno here. Then I lost my dad to cancer, and so we gave the money to St. Agnes Hospice. We did the show for them for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And the last time we did this was probably had to be at least 10 years ago. And we had a little kid who came in here. His name was Brett, and he was diagnosed with cancer, and he lost both his legs. And his mom would bring him to the store, and in his wheelchair, and he'd wheel his wheelchair all around. He'd clean the glass cases, and he was funny as heck. And people would ask him what happened. You know, he said, "Oh, I went in the ocean. The shark bit him off." And he had a great sense of humor about him. And to the very end, and he passed away. We lost him, so we did a show to help his family out. And the benefit, the proceeds of the benefit went to them. And they never did it again. We haven't done one since.
That was 2001. That would have been 10
Betty,
years
do you
ago.
remember what year we did that show for Brett Willie?
Well, maybe the opportunity will present itself again.
Yeah.
It was at least 10 years
Great
ago.
Timing
idea.
could be. I mean, you guys are the epicenter of magic. Look at the radius you draw from. I mean, I drove 3 hours in the car just to see you guys today.
Yeah.
And I'm driving straight back.
We have a guy
It's
coming.
totally worth it, It's an exciting journey to get out here, and then the reward is just awesome.
We have a guy that is coming from Germany next month. I have a gentleman that lives in Chile, Santiago, Chile, and he comes 3 times a year just to come here.
Yeah, but I drove 3 hours.
3 hours.
That's right.
I'm sorry.
In a van whose battery just died, and I
it was
literally
worth the trip,
coasted
though,
into that
wasn't it?
spot. Yeah, well, we'll see.
Put
I'm
the
sure it
sail
will
up.
be. Yeah. As I wandered the numerous corridors and rooms through this 21,000 square foot warehouse space, I saw a tiny room with a very strange looking doll in a dilapidated wooden crate.
It was actually my idea, and I wanted it to do specific things, and so I gave it to Tim Weissman, who is a genius at anything. I mean, anything I've ever any challenge I've ever presented to him, he's always done.
So you had a concept for a strange, haunted automaton type doll.
I wanted a creepy doll because, you know, like ventriloquist figures and old dolls, people, there's always a stigma there anyway.
Sure.
But I wanted it to be in an open case like this with cloth sides, and I wanted to create several different features. One, I wanted, once you put the doll in, and the curtain in the front went down, I wanted the curtain to push forward like the doll was trying to get out.
So it's a little seance cabinet, basically, with a doll, with a haunted doll.
And then the next thing I wanted to do was the doll's blocks, and we put the blocks in the cabinet, and she actually kicks the blocks out of the cabinet.
Spooky, yeah.
And then there's a knocking, rapping sound, and there's also a spirit bell. The bell's not in here right now, but there's also a bell that rings very loud, and you can see the bell. You could set the bell in. None of that's done undercover. It's all done visually. And the thing that I wanted to do is I wanted something that could be done in a seance situation where if you had somebody sitting at a table with you, you could put this right in the middle of a table and you could do it surrounded just within inches away with no detection. And that's exactly what he achieved. It took him a few months to figure out how to do all the features and to put it in the cabinet. Turn the cabinet around so you can see this is everything. This all comes off. And each one of the dolls that we use is different because I went and bought antique dolls so that we get a little realism. And you can see that everything that he does, he ages it, makes it look very old. That's kind of his trademark.
Definitely looks like something you'd find in the curio shop on the set of The Twilight Zone.
Exactly. That's what we're going for. Everything that Tim makes is like this. He creates a spirit bell and several other products for us. He even has a special section on our website. And he's gotten quite a following. I mean, I have a lot of customers that have bought everything that he makes. And you can, you've got a whole spirit seance or a whole spirit type act.
And does he specialize then in creepy, spooky?
That's his thing. Yeah.
Okay. Bizarre magic.
Bizarre, yeah. Everything looks exactly like this. Nothing pretty. No fancy paint jobs, anything like that. Everything has to look like this.
There seems to be a recent wave or trend to do more bizarre magic, and especially I know a few people who are collecting these carnival sideshow attractions.
I have them in my office.
Yeah. What do you call those? The bit
sideshow gaff.
Yeah. Well, there's all different kinds of. You mean the mummy's paw and
the oddities?
Yes, the oddities. That's the word.
I've got in my office. I have a unicorn fetus. I have two-headed babies. I have shrunken heads, and they're all gaffs. None of them are real, but they look real. I have a two-headed duck. I think I have a cyclops chicken. I have a two-headed chicken. When we go in there, I'll show them to you. And then I collect the sideshow banners, which are in the warehouse. Some are reproductions that I have up. But the ones towards the rear are all original Johnny Mia sideshow banners. And I do that because when I was a kid, I always wanted to go to the sideshow, and my mother said, "No, it's a ripoff. We're not going in there." And so I never got to go.
You were denied.
So I'm rebelling now,
Big time.
So anything sideshow I want.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. Well, you must be a fan of Ricky Jay's broadsides then.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I have all the books, and we're real fortunate that in Fresno lives Bobby Reynolds. Bobby Reynolds is one of the last of the original sideshow guys, and if you Google his name, Bobby Reynolds Sideshow, pages and pages and pages of information come up. I mean, he had one of the largest sideshows in the world, traveled all over Europe and in the United States, was in New York at Coney Island, had his sideshow set up there for years, and now he's retired, lives here in Fresno. All the sideshow stuff sitting out. He's got big truck and trailer rigs, and he comes in every once in a while. He's a funny guy. He's got stories like you wouldn't believe. Just a real interesting person.
Now, so what's his amazing collection? Does he still display it, perform it, etc.?
He doesn't display it. It's all. He's got his garage. He converted his garage over, and it's like a museum. In fact, the local news channel did a thing on him on television a couple of years ago. In fact, that's on. If you Google him, you'll see that.
So it's possible to visit this museum?
It's
sort of a private museum by invitation only.
By invitation only.
Yeah. I know a few places like that.
Yeah, he's got a lot of his stuff, personal stuff that he likes, but the rest of it is all stored in big rigs on his property.
Wow.
And the way you can find his house is he's got a life-size fiberglass elephant in his front yard. So that's how you know where Bobby's house is.
Yeah, that's subtle.
Yeah.
Okay.